Welcome, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about periodic classification of element. This is the second chapter in your Science 1 paper. So, as you know, elements are considered to be the basic fundamental blocks of any material. If you take any material, they are made up of certain elements. They may be a compound or they may be a just single element. As you know, you've already learned about classification of elements in short in your previous standards. As of now, up till date, we have got 118 elements in the world. Many of them are naturally available, many are synthesized. When we say about synthesized, it means we have made it. They are not naturally occurring, they have been artificially made. That's what synthesized means. So let us move on to the chapter. In this chapter, we will be going to learn mainly about history of classification of elements, and we are going to learn about modern periodic table and how the present periodic table got its structures and how it is arranged, how all the elements are arranged. This is what we are going to learn in this chapter. So let's start. From the ancient era onwards, like from mankind, like the civilization of humans have been established, from that day onwards, man is very much interested in different type of things around him. So one of such thing was metals. Yes, at starting, like very ancient, man was only known about some of the metals, and they were indeed elements. Some of the oldest elements as copper, gold, platinum, mercury. As you know, there is one simple age also, like copper age, which we learn in our history. We have got Stone Age, Copper Age. So we have got Copper Age also. It is believed that during that time the copper was discovered. Humans are very much familiar with metals. Earlier, the elements were only classified into metals and non-metals. Then, as the time went on, we discovered different type of another elements which does not have property of metal, neither they have property of non-metal. Some had property of metal as well as some have more property of non-metals also. So classification was very much necessary. This classification is very necessary to learn the properties of these metals or elements, we can call. These elements not only have properties physically, they also have properties chemically. They do interact with other elements or other compounds. So these reactions, these interactions have to be studied. And these studies will be only possible if these elements are classified accordingly. So from that when science was developing, from that stage onwards, we started to classify these elements. It was in 1817, a German scientist known as Dobereiner tried to classify these elements. The elements known up till that time, he tried to classify it in such a way that they can be arranged into 3 groups. Not groups actually, they can be arranged into groups which consist of 3 elements. So since it is 3 elements in a group, he called them as triads. Here you will be able to see some examples of triad, where atomic mass was considered as a scale for classification of these elements. So we have got triads over here. We'll be able to see lithium, sodium and potassium. That is the first triad. Second triad consists of calcium, strontium and barium. Third triad, here we have got chlorine, bromine and iodine. Atomic mass was considered as the scale for their classification. He said that atomic mass of any two element, you add and you take average of it, or you can take the mean of it, whatever mean is coming, it will be the atomic mass of another element. So that three element will considered as a triad. So he arranged the element in a triad in increasing order of atomic mass and show that the atomic mass of middle element was approximately equal to mean of the atomic mass of other two elements. In this example, we have got lithium, which has atomic mass of 6.9, and we have got potassium, which has atomic mass 39.1. When you take mean of it, you get 23.0, which is actually atomic mass of sodium. In the same way, we have got calcium, strontium and barium, where strontium, we got the mean this way. Even though there was a difference of 1, it was considered. So in this way, Dobereiner tried to classify these elements. It is said that he was not successful to classify all the elements. He could probably classify few triads. He could make it, but he could not make the entire elements known up till that time to classify it according to his theory of triads. So Dobereiner, even though started with the classification, his classification, that is Dobereiner's triad, was not acceptable by the world. Since Dobereiner's triad was not acceptable by the world, an English scientist, John Newland, tried to classify these elements in a different manner. It was very much interesting. He said that it was all about in 1866. Remember, Dobereiner tried to classify it in 1817 and Newland tried to classify almost near 1866. He tried at the early, Dobereiner tried at the early 19th century and Newland tried to classify this in the mid of 19th century. So there was a huge gap of almost we can call 50 years. After 50 years, he tried to classify it. Up till that time, it was very difficult because we didn't have that much scientific equipments or scientific knowledge, because still the science is developing, and that time also it was just developing in the field of classification of elements. Even many of the elements known today was not yet discovered at that time. So classification was going on, they were trying. So John Newland, one of the English scientists, came across with a theory of octaves. Octave means 8. So they were playing with numbers. Dobereiner tried with 3. Newland tried with octaves, that is 8. He started with the lightest element, hydrogen, and ended up with thorium. He found that every 8th element had a properties similar to those of first. For example, sodium is the 8th element from lithium, and both have similar properties. Sodium and lithium both have similar properties. Also, magnesium shows similarity to beryllium, and chlorine shows similarity with fluorine. Newland compared these similarity with octaves with respect in the music. We have got that Saptaswar. We got no Saptaswar. We have got that seventh swar, but we have got one more. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. So he tried to just resemble or try to make it very much similar with respect to octave. So these was very much interesting. So even though he tried to do it in the same way, it was not at all at that time properly arranged, or there were limitations for it. This was applicable up to calcium. Like these classification of octave of Newland law of octaves were up to, like, it was applicable up to calcium. He just tried to fit all this into that these proper classified 8 octaves of these elements. So there was a problem in that. Newland fitted all known element in table 7 into 8, that is 56 boxes. He tried to fit it. Newland placed 2 elements each in some boxes to accommodate all the known elements in the table. For example, we will be able to understand from here, cobalt and nickel. Moreover, he placed some of the elements with different properties under same note in octave. For example, having similarity with cobalt and nickel away from along with non-metal oxygen and sulfur under the note Ti. Oxygen and sulfur also kept under this. Ti means this is do re mi fa so la ti. That is an English version of our Indian sa re ga ma pa da ni. So they kept this under this Ti. Also, Newland octave did not have provision to accommodate the newly discovered elements. As I told you, there were elements were discovering during that time. So that discovery of new elements, he could not fit into its theory, and the Newland octaves theory was actually not applicable everywhere with respect to the elements are available over there. So even though he tried to classify it, and it was almost, we can say that he tried it and successful at some aspect, but it was again not acceptable by the scientific world, as it could not completely classify all the elements which were up till that time. It was in the year 1869, a Russian scientist, Dmitry Mendeleev, developed a periodic table of elements during the period of almost 1869 to 1872. So he gave a breakthrough in classification of these elements, and in his roots we developed the modern periodic table. So it was a very fantastic breakthrough. It was that up till that time 63 elements known at that time in increasing order the atomic masses he arranged. So he arranged them in the increasing order of their atomic mass. Then he transformed this into periodic table of elements in accordance with their physical and chemical properties. So it was very much interesting. So their atomic mass was they were knowing that atomic mass, and he just converted that entire atomic mass properly arranged from the increasing order of atomic mass, like hydrogen 1, helium 2. Accordingly he classified, and he just kept it according to the increasing order of their atomic mass, and he just converted or transformed that periodic table and arranged these elements accordance with the physical and chemical properties. So here we have got one table. We'll be able to see that how they have arranged. See how they are arranged according to the increasing order of atomic number. All the elements known up till that time, he tried to classify according to this and according to the chemical properties and physical properties, he had separated them into groups. So he just gave a very fantastic or very revolutionary breakthrough in classification of elements. So it was very much appreciable. I will show you the almost a small actual how does the Mendeleev's periodic table at starting it look like in the next slide. See, this is in Russian. Okay, this is in Russian language. There he have written. He classified all the available 63 elements according to their atomic mass. See, hydrogen 1 accordingly he just classified it. See, he just classified accordingly to the atomic masses. And according to their atomic masses, he just classified them. Remember, it is atomic mass, not atomic number. You already know difference between atomic mass and atomic number. So he just classified all these 63 elements available up till that time into their increasing order of their atomic masses, and he separated them according to their properties, physical properties as well as chemical properties. So Mendeleev published all this about periodic table around in 1869. His organization of elements was based on atomic mass. So that was the second point. Mendeleev periodic table made it possible, that's the main important point, possible to predict the properties of element that had not yet been discovered. So Newland and Dobereiner failed in this. So this was a main breakthrough. This was actually a pivotal point, we can say, that he could predict the properties of the elements which will be yet to be discovered. If they discovered and their atomic mass comes in according to this table, and he can easily predict their properties, physical properties or chemical properties, approximately he can predict. So this was, if he can predict it before even they are discovered and they are experimentally approved, if he can predict their properties, then it was a stamp of approval with respect to this periodic table. So it was a fantastic breakthrough which he have done. So with respect to the merits of the his predecessors like Dobereiner and Newland, his classification of periodic table was very well acceptable. Even though it was acceptable, there were some demerits, that is negative points in this, which we will be learning in the next part. So he was considered the father of classification of this element. So in according to give him respect, the element having atomic number 101, which was synthesized in 1955, was named after him, Mendeleevium. It was given an honor to the person who successfully tried to classify the elements according to the atomic mass. So in order to give them honor, so his name was given to one of the element which was synthesized, I already told you, which was artificially created in the year 1955. That element was Mendeleevium. So there were merits for Mendeleev's periodic table. So the first merit was he generalized the study of elements, then known as study of mere groups. So he just generalized the study of elements. It was easy for them to understand how the elements, their properties and their different aspects with chemically as well as physical properties. Second was, in Mendeleev periodic table, he left some blank spaces for the elements which are yet to be discovered. So he left some blank spaces which was not yet discovered, and he just predicted that if they discover these elements, they will come and sit in this blank space. We can give them whatever name you want, and while keeping them on that blank space, the elements which are up till discovered, their arrangement will also be not disturbed. So that was a very fantastic thing. Obviously, he was exceptional genius with respect to classification. Third point, Mendeleev could also predict the properties of the known elements. So that was like a wonder. Therefore, like that was like a magic for the scientific world. How he can predict, according to his table, the elements which are not yet discovered. So basis and how he discovered, that was a fantastic thing. And how he able to predict it. He was able to predict it according to the properties of the element which are nearly or near to its atomic mass. He predicted the presence of 3 elements also. That is very much interesting. They were named as Eka boron, Eka aluminium and Eka silicon. The properties of these 3 elements were similar to the actually discovered element which was later discovered, like Eka boron was scandium, Eka aluminium was gallium, and Eka silicon was germanium. So he predicted, like for example, this was the most famous prediction: Eka boron, Eka aluminium, and Eka silicon. So Eka boron was later on discovered and it was given as name as scandium. Eka aluminium, which was later on discovered as gallium. Eka silicon, which was later on discovered into germanium. So he predicted the elements and their properties. It was a very revolutionary prediction done by Mendeleev, and it was absolutely correct also. So scientific proofs are based on how much they are correct. Theory anybody can do, but whether it is coming practically possible, if it is practically possible, his theory is absolutely correct. We can go on with this theory. This is how scientific experiments work on. The fourth point was when noble gases were discovered later. You people might be knowing noble gases. So when these noble gases was discovered, they could be accommodated in the periodic table in the form of separate group as noble gases. So these noble gases, when it was discovered, without disturbing the table of the present element, Mendeleev could easily arrange them according to their structure. You know, noble gases. What are the noble gases? They are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and xenon. So you must be knowing about this noble gases. So these noble gases we were able to arrange them according to their properties in a separate table without disturbing the present condition of the table. So why they are called noble gases also you must be knowing. They do not take part in any chemical reaction very easily. So thus, even though the noble gases were discovered, these gases were arranged properly in the periodic table. The fifth point was he was able to correct the values of atomic masses of elements like gold and platinum. He placed these elements going strictly by similarities in their properties. So the atomic masses value were also corrected by this Mendeleev's periodic table. So these were the 5 major merit of Mendeleev's periodic table. So as we finished with the merits of Mendeleev periodic table, Mendeleev's periodic table also had some demerits, some negative points. The first one, we say that Mendeleev could not assign a correct position to hydrogen in the periodic table, as hydrogen resembles alkali metals as well as halogens. So there was also hydrogen, since Mendeleev's periodic table was arranged according to the physical and chemical properties, the hydrogen was having a problem. Even though it was an alkali metal, it has also the resemblance of halogens. So it was difficult for Mendeleev where to keep this element hydrogen. It's the first element which having one proton and one neutron in it. So next problem was isotopes had to be given same position in periodic table, though isotopes of same element have different atomic masses. As you know, isotopes are like variation in chemical elements that have same number of protons but different number of neutrons. So they have got different number of neutrons and same number of protons. So these elements having isotopes, like for example we can call that hydrogen have 3 isotopes, like protium, deuterium and tritium, and carbon also has isotope carbon 12, carbon 13, carbon 14. So these types of elements could not able to accommodate properly. Isotopes have to be given same position in periodic table, though isotopes of same element have different atomic masses. Since their atomic mass was different, like even though they have same proton, their number of neutrons were different. So atomic number was same, but atomic masses was different. So they have to be they have to kept in the same group. Since Mendeleev arranged their his periodic table according to the atomic mass, so he had to keep them in same position. So it was actually a big problem. So it was third one is it was observed that certain places an element of higher atomic mass like cobalt having 58.93 has been placed before an element of lower atomic mass nickel 58.71. As you know, he had classified the elements in two way. That is according to the atomic masses, increasing order of atomic mass, as well as the physical and chemical properties. While he was arranging them in physical and chemical properties, elements such as cobalt, which having a bit higher atomic mass with respect to nickel, it was kept a bit lower. So cobalt has been placed before element nickel, which having a less atomic mass than cobalt. So that was again a problem. Fourth demerit was some elements placed in same subgroup varies in their properties. Manganese is placed with halogens which totally different properties. That was one of the main issue. So even though he arranged some elements, he kept according to the atomic masses he kept, and according to the chemical and physical properties, some element came into the group which does not have properties of this element with respect to other group. Like for example, manganese came into halogen, where manganese does not have any similarity with the properties of halogen. So these were the demerits of Mendeleev periodic table. So we have done with the demerits and merits of Mendeleev periodic table. In the next lecture, we will be learning how the modern periodic table was established and how it was arranged, what were the properties and how it came into existence. That's all, my dear students. Thank you.